It certainly is, and what an afternoon we're in for here. And the matchups, Vossi, there's a bit of push and shove. It looks like Rook, Selwood, looks like he's got the early job on the gun Bulldog, Ryan Griffin. What a game we're in for here. 1 versus 2, right around the country. Live on Network 10, and an early free kick. It'll come Geelong's way. And Brad Ottens. 3 goals last week for Brad Ottens. He's going to be dangerous. He'll go forward at some stage, you would think. Wide, Chapman, big leap. Ball to the back, Hargrave, hands and knees. Perhaps didn't need to go to ground, but gets the handball. Addison, off to Cross. Or put Boyd under the pump. Good pressure coming from Chapman. He was taken high. In fact, he'll get the free kick for a push. So Paul Chapman just forward to the wing. Stokes, oh gee, that looked close to being out on the fall. Kick is a good one, and Mooney marks. And it looks like Everett with the big job, Vossi, on Cam Mooney.
Yeah, very big job. It's just about to unload to Bartel, but also down forward Murphy and Harley is a matchup. So a bit unexpected, but Harley can do the job. There's
a wind blowing to that pocket. Harris, did he push Johnson out? No. Hargrave, little fumble. And in desperation, runs it through for a rush behind. So the first score of the match, 1 versus 2. Cats with that behind.
And also just a couple of matchups. We've spoken about them all week. Cross has gone with Bartel, so very interesting there. That'll be a critical matchup. And Rook to Cooney.
Onto the wing, and Milburn controlling it back to Scarlett. Well up the ground. Dragged down. He's able to get an escaping handball. Enright's kick went nowhere, and Welsh sees it over.
I think that'll be a big focus for the Bulldogs. Scotty Welsh's defensive pressure has been fantastic. You really want to try and restrict Geelong's ability to run out from half back, so that'll be a big plus to be able to stifle them at centre wing.
And we saw Acker on screen. He'll be looking forward to a big match. He doesn't have a great record against Geelong in recent times, so this is his best opportunity with the form that he comes into this game.
Boyd and Hargrave and Murphy sending the Dogs forward. We know Cross can run all day. Bartel going to be in for a decent scrap with him. The numbers prevailing for Geelong, and the advantage taken by Joel Corey. Out for Harley on the wing. He might have to go back to Corey. Now he goes on his own. Milburn, Bartel's in support, but Joel Corey drifting further ahead, and the Cats can go
Corey,
to Lonergan.
Beautiful kick to Lonergan. Just outside 50, wheels around Varcote. Good fist from Gilby. Addison attacks it hard. Somehow got boot the ball. Not 15. Play on's the call. Chance at ground level. Good desperate stuff from Steve Johnson. But the Bulldogs resolute in defence, and Lake pumps it back to the wing. Brad Johnson's got to beat a couple here. Brilliant tackle on Harley. Ball spills to Hunt. Rook. And now Scarlett's and set things up again. Beautiful kick to Mooney, who's been busy early. Looks like he's come to play today, although he gives it straight up to Lake. Now that is a mistake. That Brad Johnson, the only player forward of the centre, and Lake, well, he panicked, did he? No, well, he got the distance, but perhaps if he just held onto the ball, Brad Johnson may have been able to run into space, but are behind to the Bulldogs.
Would have been a tough call. He had no one in front of him. Johnson was almost laterally to him, but surrounded by Geelong players.
Selwood couldn't hang on. He did draw some high contact. So on the way out, it's Josh Hunt. Both sides making a few little errors, particularly the Cats in close. Another opportunity for the Dogs. Again confronted by plenty of Geelong Guernseys. Bartel now. That's a terrible handball. Straight to Hahn, and he goes back for a second helping Bartel. Chance to make amends. Again, they can sort things out across half back. Joel Corey might have to use Scarlett as the get-out clause. And so nothing too clean about the Cats so far. Milburn, though, escaping through the middle. And this is Stokes. Ever dangerous. Addison he has for company. Chapman is 150th. Hargrave trying to stymie him, and he does well. Sometimes grabbing one hand can be better than two in a tackle. Hudson, the underground, doesn't clear the danger at all. Jared Rook stepping up into the #1 tag position today. Steve Johnson, we know to expect the unexpected. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, we've spoken about the intensity of the match. The Cats have not been clean. They almost look a little toey. The big game, they'll be keen to be able to impose themselves on this game, so they just look a little bit nervous.
Chance at ground level. Ray couldn't get clear though. Stokes feeds it back. Selwood off a step. Clever little kick. Well done from Morris, getting back on Steve Johnson. Johnson off the ground, chance for Mooney, snaps over the shoulder, and Geelong first blood here at Skilled Stadium. And hasn't Cameron Mooney been up and about in the opening minutes of this big game?
No, he certainly has, Chris. His body language looks fantastic. Great contest here. Dale Morris, who is one of the better defenders going around at the moment, he did so well to get back there and create a contest with Steve Johnson. And then the brilliance of Steve Johnson to stay in the game and create a goal really out of nothing in the end. Fantastic matchup.
Going to be a real tactical challenge for both coaches today, won't it? You would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. There's matchups going on everywhere. We can see Paul Chapman's come into the centre. It looks as though Max Rook and Adam Cooney are going to go head-to-head as well.
And Acker in there also.
And Selwood, nothing clean again about the handball, but Chapman was there as backup. Dogs should be able to outnumber Geelong here. Murphy just escaping, but good pressure, more and more pressure each disposal on the Bulldogs. They were reasonably calm. And this is Boyd, who's right up there in the league over the last 4 weeks, averaging around 30 touches. Ackermanis just fired away blindly. Might get out of bounds. He does, and that's not a bad result for the Dogs.
Yeah, well, we had actually Brad Johnson about 15 metres further ahead, and Jono let him know that he was out. Wasn't all that happy with him.
We've seen a little bit go on between those two in the last couple of years, haven't we?
And that's what Acker will do. Start forward, start in the midfield and drift forward. So he's on his own about 30 metres out from goal currently.
Again, the Geelong defence sharing it around. Milburn got some protection. Was it enough protection? It was, as it turns out. And the skipper takes the grab.
Enright, good chase from Ackermanis, but he gets it away to Corey. And Mooney again presenting.
He started well.
Gee, hasn't he, White? He really has. And getting up the ground, most of his disposals, apart from his goal, coming outside 50. He hoists it high. Steve Johnson here. The chance with Gilby. Varco overruns it. Steve Johnson somehow found it at ground level. Gives it up to Gilby. And a chance here for Jason Ackermanis. He marks just forward of the wing, as he always does. He plays on. This time Brad Johnson with the opportunity. Hunt strong at the back. Minson, little fumble, but gives it to Brad Johnson, who under pressure pulls it back. The only player there is Milburn, and the Cats can propel another Western Bulldog attack.
It's great pressure from both sides. You can see everyone out on the ground doesn't think they have a lot of time, and it's just the build-up of this game.
Harley and Scarlett, old mates, combining it. There's done so many times over the years, but they're not going to find it as easy as they have in the past today, you would think. Constrained by this tight Bulldog side. Both teams looking pretty disciplined about the way they're going. We look out there, and Milburn will see it ahead. Lots of one-on-ones. He settles on Kelly, who, as you said, has been able to get the break on Ackermanis. Doesn't get the accommodating bounce and has to really go in there and try and win it. Clever tap from Acker, but Geelong again with their extra bodies prevailing. Now, this Steve Johnson versus Morris matchup, which we're going to watch with great interest all afternoon. Mackey's got away and pushed inside, but he goes longer than that to Tom Lonigan, who must be respected. He's kicked 4 goals in each of the last 2 games. And we all know about the story, but he's got to be respected now as a footballer.
No, he has to. The 2 key forwards for Geelong in Lonigan and Mooney have started really well. Everett is a matchup for Lonigan, and Brian Lake will play on Cam Mooney. So they've got on top in this early part of the game. Sometimes you see those low-down marks spill out, but he did fantastically well to wrap it up low to the ground. Good mark.
Eyes just darting a little there from Lonigan. But the task, as you can see, ahead of him, and one that he would have hoped he would have been able to achieve. But he misses, and Geelong have 1-2-8, and the Bulldogs 1 behind.
Which might suggest the wind is perhaps pushing in his face there.
Yep.
Given the fact he was darting around, he wasn't confident that he'd make the distance, so you'd expect that that's where the wind is heading.
Gilby, brilliant kick. Cross. What a player he's been. That wasn't a great kick, though. Somehow got to its intended target. Everett off to Jan Siracusa. Here's a chance for the Bulldogs. Brad Johnson and Murphy running back. Ball close to the line. Oh, Johnson tried to keep it in, but Hunt was aware of what he was trying to achieve and battered it out of bounds. Johnson appealing for deliberate, but not forthcoming.
Did pretty well there, Hunt. It was going to come back to Murphy and set up the goal. Managed to get it across the line.
So an opportunity for the Western Bulldogs. Hudson and Blake. Spills. Welsh somehow dribbles at goal. Has it just been touched by Milburn? Oh, that was a close thing. Now behind only to the Western Bulldogs.
Josh Hunt with the responsibilities into the breeze. You wouldn't think about to get the penetration that we're used to seeing for Harry Taylor. And Milburn has just skulked away to the half-back flank and has something that's pretty rare commodity today, a bit of space. Harbrow trying to change that. Now Prisma with some issues from Farron Ray. They work hard to try and get out of trouble. Chapman off the inside of the right boot. Mooney well placed.
Oh, he is on fire.
Played on, and sensing the moment was there for him. Steve Johnson, a little arch of the back. Can't escape. This is Cooney, and the run provided by Jin Syracuse got a double bump as he kicked it. Harbrow enjoying the step up to senior level in the last couple of weeks. Eagleton, a veteran. Boyd.
Murphy's dropped Harley.
And he should be able to take the grab here, or at least on the bounce. The wing really carrying that.
That's really interesting at the moment. Murphy a couple of times now has turned Harley. Harley's trying to stay the defensive side of Murphy, but just doesn't have the pace in space to keep up with him. So be interesting to see whether Murphy can turn him time and time again in this game.
A number of boundary throw-ins in this left forward pocket for the Bulldogs. Hahn tried to just drag the footy away. Milburn. Kelly feeds it back. Mackie. And he coolly drops it on the left boot towards Scarlett. Didn't get the greatest of bounces. Scarlett under pressure. Blake. Now here's a test for the big man. What can he do? He does pretty well. Handball off to Taylor. And he's got a couple of teammates at half-back. One of them is Joel Corey.
He's already up to 5 touches. Milburn with 10 off half-back. Boyd with 4, the leading possession winner for the Dogs. Steve Johnson's been in the frame a bit.
Great match-up that, Hutto.
It is. Morris and also Steve Johnson. We'll get back to that, but we're going to have a look in a moment. There's Merv Hughes watching on some of the missed handballs by the Cats early on, showing that they too are not infallible under pressure.
Ooh.
Back to live action now. Not much happening. Another ball up, taking place on the wing.
Thanks, James. This way, mate.
Plenty of rotations down below. James Bartel coming just straight back on the ground. Here's Prismal. Could have got some high contact. He knew Bartel was there, but Bulldogs just sweating on him. And another ball up. So it's a real tight start to this game.
Yeah, pressure everywhere. It's what you hope the game would be. One-on-one contests and lots of tackling, lots of chasing. It's been great.
Oh, Minson punches it 40 metres towards half forward. Milburn will be first back. Gets a good shepherd from Scarlett. And then uses Scarlett. Back to Milburn. Not much flow to the Cats game at the moment as Milburn finds Hunt. Deep in defence. And the Cats are manned up one-on-one across the park. Hunt wide. Kelly the target and couldn't quite hold on. Bartel backing up. Quick little give is okay to Milburn. Prismal. Good handball back to Milburn, and they run it very effectively this time, the Cats. Off to Joel Corey. Lonigan wants it, but he kicks it in his direction, but Gilby chopped it off. And the Bulldogs now, Lake sharing it with Hargrave. Back towards Griffin in the midfield. Ackermanis running forward. Around Bartel is an exciting prospect. Ryan Griffin. What will he do here? Brad Johnson wants it deep. Kick towards the pocket. And again, it's over the boundary line in that left full pocket. I think we'll see a fair bit of the play there today.
Well, they're trying to turn the Geelong defence at the moment, so they're kicking the ball over the forwards' heads, which is why it's ending up in that dead pocket, because they want to generate that space behind the Geelong defence.
So just 1 goal in the first half of the first quarter.
That will suit Geelong, guys. The Bulldogs are kicking with about a 2-goal breeze, and Bartel on Griffin, what a matchup that is.
And that's what's been happening for most of this matchup. Harley and Murphy, he's deciding to stay about 4 or 5 metres on the defensive side of him. But gee, when Murphy gets on his bike, he looks dangerous.
Jin Syracuse knows what it takes to kick a goal, as most of the Bulldogs forwards do. They've got such a great array of forwards of different shapes and sizes, but everyone perhaps a little tentative this afternoon. They've only managed 3 behinds.
Mackie gets it from Hunt, and has got Milburn, who's been very, very busy the opening half of the game. Coming in for disposal number 15, and is able to find Brad Ottens. Back to Steve Johnson, playing high up the ground, kick poor, and good awareness by Hargrave. Wasn't worrying about Chapman too much.
Here
For
Just the slightest touch from Paul Chapman. It's a massive penalty, this.
Particularly when it looks as though, oh, yeah, maybe just for the little tummy wrap. Hargrave now. Long towards the square. Griffin at the back, got hands to it. Brad Johnson, and he kicks a goal. First for the Dogs. Now, he's got a great record, Brad Johnson, and has kicked 16 in the last 3 against the Cats and gets on the board this afternoon.
Well, they've been trying to hit this space time and time again. They haven't been quite able to generate a score out of it. They've been ending up in that dead pocket, but Johnson in the right space. It is a dangerous position on the ground and makes the most of his opportunities. He's a fantastic player, Johnson.
So the Dogs will be relieved, no doubt, not just by the fact that they're in front, but they've been able to kick a goal.
Actually looked dangerous. Their forward entries have turned the opposition inside out. Bossy's been talking about it. Really even start to the game.
Selwood getting plenty of attention from Daniel Cross in the centre circles, but James Kelly back in the side this week with the entry for the Cats. Mooney and Late, they're going to tangle plenty of times this afternoon, as are these two, Morris and Steve Johnson. Mooney, bit of a haphazard kick, but he knew that Otton's had the extra centimetres on Ray. As it hits the ground, it's Addison with that extreme commitment. It wins the day, and it's Ray that has the takeaway. Not for long, though. Milburn drawing some high contact. He's had a lot of the footy.
This is 16.
Yeah, that's incredible. Would be his busiest quarter, I reckon, of all time. And just rolling on in is the man we expected to do all sorts of things, Steve Johnson.
Had a coach that used to come in at quarter time and say, who's playing on Darren Milburn? He's had 16 the first quarter. He's on target for 64. Doesn't ever tend to work out that way, but they'll be worried about Milburn across half back. There's the effort from Addison. Been on fire, Darren Milburn. Picked up enormous amount of possession.
Defence is providing a lot of run dust. Scarlett also enjoying some footy also.
Averaging just over 2 goals a game this year. Slightly down on last year, but he's getting better and better.
One area of the game against Geelong is that you really want to make sure you limit how much footy they get across half back. And Milburn and Scarlett, Corey Enright, when he's down there, they're all experts at doing it. They just rack up possession. Mackey's an unbelievable player in that area of the game as well. So I'm sure it's a focus, whoever plays Geelong. You're not going to stop them for the whole game, but you can't allow them to have that much footy.
What a start by Darren Milburn. 16 disposals.
Yeah, it's probably at this point where Harbrow needs to go back to the goal square almost. Just take him out of the play for a while. Take the heat off.
Hudson, ineffective. Both ruckmen there. Steve Johnson charging off the front of the centre square. Prismal, you're gone. Free kick to the Dogs. Good stuff from Harbrow. Ray. Good chase from Chapman, but Ray gets the kick away. It wasn't a great option with the Dogs having the breeze and kicking it into the dead pocket. And a great tackle there from Harbrow. Prismal lacking awareness. So Ottens to do battle again, this time with Minson. In fact, Taylor got a touch in there. Griffin somehow got the handball back. Jumps to Rakusa. Cooney just arcs the back, escaped the rook tackle. Kicks deep towards Brad Johnson. Harley, well done Brad Johnson, affected the spoil. Milburn again was taken high. And
Brad Johnson's hurt. Brad Johnson's put his hand up for the trainer, holding his left ankle.
So that's poor news. Let's look at it again.
Oh, I just rolled the outside of it there.
So Milburn now away, and so at Geelong. Great courage going back with the flight. Ball spills to Chapman. Chapman now 60 from goal. Kicks it deep into the pocket which the wind's blowing, and didn't really give Lonergan much of a chance at all there.
Das, all we can hope there with Johnson's injury is that it's like one of those little stingers you get. It just hurts for a little while, and then after a while you can sort of move it around a little bit. Let's just hope.
Chance at the base of the pack. Now, free kick coming. In fact, advantage to the Dogs. Don't know there was much advantage in that. And the umpire's still letting it go. The Dogs escape. Hargrave.
Great kick.
It certainly was. Found Griffin in space at half-back. He's got a loose player, Harbrow. Milburn just sitting off him. Harbrow wanted to play on. Good handball. Floated it beautifully for Lake, who drives it deep. And it's home, is it? Yes! Brian Lake, a sensational goal for the Dogs. Gee, didn't he get some carry on that kick?
Yeah, it just showed the strength of the wind when you hit it right in the corridor. It's able to carry an enormous distance. There's Johnson. I reckon that looks like one of those ones that you get a little bit of local anaesthetic. It'll be sore. I've got a feeling, I'm hoping he'll be able to come back out and play the rest of the game. But have a look at that. Geez, it carried some distance.
So two of the big questions at the moment is Brad Johnson's health and the effect of the wind here, because the Dogs lead by 1 and they've got a pretty strong breeze.
Yeah, and I think it's pretty clear, Das, isn't it, about where the attacking flank is currently.
Absolutely.
Slapped away. Kelly, Bartel, and they can run. Mackie with that traditional dash, heading it quickly into the 50. Mooney has been a real post-up man so far today. Off to Bartel, didn't make it easy for him, just hacked a little kick away. Kelly with good controlled aggression, couldn't get it through to Corey. The aggression from both sides has been, as we expected, terrific.
This near side of the ground, Boss is talking about, when they attack through that commentary side of the ground closest to camera, that seems to be the best end for the Bulldogs to score from.
Altons. What do you think of the ruck battle, Das, and what are you looking from it today?
It's pretty even. I mean, Hudson and Ottens are both specialists when the ball hits the ground. They attack the footy really well. Ottens, with about a month back in the game, starting to get fit. He's super strong, Ottens, really hard to move. You get an example of that there.
Indeed you do. Stokes and Kelly with Corey in support. Couldn't get a decent touch on it. And Ackermanis with the clearance. Geelong with the extra number. Minson's got to work hard just to get there. Scarlett. There's an 8 defensive skills on display there. For this big crowd at Skilled Stadium. Darren Milburn, the world is closing in on him for a moment, but he uses a bit of guile and gets it over the line.
Das, would you think that there's a goal advantage, maybe a couple of goal advantage down this side for the Western Bulldogs in this quarter?
Yeah, absolutely.
So they need to get a bit of advantage before quarter time.
Ottens, sharp by Cooney, couldn't get an effective disposal away. Hunt, well done, got the ball clear. Chapman, Ottens, Bartel, whoever, around Hudson. Did a boot go out there? Good kick into the path of Varco. Loose player wide. Stokes. Stokes with time. Can he find a target? No, he can't. It was a poor kick, well read by Gilby. And Lindsay Gilby at half-back to initiate another Bulldog attack.
Ackermanis with the job ahead of him here. So missed targets from both sides have been costly. Chapman. Ottens, just automatically, that's the Cats just instinctively share it around and worry about the consequences later on display, and they just have this amazing ability to get out of trouble, don't they?
Yeah, when you take risks, you get rewarded, Hutto, because they have done that, and they do that consistently. The pressure from the Dogs, though, Hutto, has been fantastic, and it's had your heart in your mouth a few times. It's looked as though they're going to turn the footy over a bit.
Tackle count is 11-8 in favour of the Dogs.
I reckon the Bulldogs are doing pretty well. They're in front, and I would say Geelong have had the majority of the play.
So 50 count is 12-10 in favour of Geelong to support your theory. As Joe Corey pokes up. Hard to handle for the late inclusion in Gamble, but he's shown he is elusive and able to score a goal or two. Stokes with some issues. Another Dog down and not looking in good shape out there, just off the pack.
They've also had 122 possessions, and we see Hargrave there. At 122 possessions, Geelong, the Bulldogs. So you would think both these sides over the last month have been 1-2 on the disposal count. So that is a massive advantage to Geelong at the moment, but they are making some mistakes.
Will that affect Hargrave's brain power, Das?
Looks as though he just copped an accidental knee from Rook to the head. You having a shot at him, are you?
Oh, I thought you might, though.
I'll pass that on to him.
Eagleton clears the congestion, but a chance for Chapman. Johnson is wide, and Steve Johnson, very busy opening quarter. He finds a target, or does he? He saw one in Stokes. To the back, Kelly escaped the Eagleton tackle, got boot to ball. Leighton was touched, he needs to get it through, Brian. And he does. Rush behind, all tied up. 2-3 apiece as we close in on quarter time.
I reckon that'll be one of the worries at quarter time for Rodney Eade is Brian Lake on Mooney. Mooney started really well in a few one-on-one contests, so Wouldn't be surprised if he goes over to Big Brian and just asks him to play a bit closer.
They've kicked a goal each, Stars. What more can you ask from a centre-half back? Hargrave trotting away. Gilby. Certainly not wanting to panic there, the Dogs, just carrying it through the centre zone. Oh, Eagleton.
Oh, strange.
Still wouldn't be rushed. Murphy. Oh, I don't know how he took that mark. He's high up for marks and also for inside 50s in the AFL is Murphy. Welsh. And it got through to Jen Siracusa.
This is the pocket.
Met by just deadly silence when the Bulldogs do something good, which is not a great surprise, of course.
Well, I reckon the Bulldogs have battled really hard in the early stages of this quarter or the game, I should say, because they are being completely dominated with possession. They've been much more efficient going forward, so this is a big kick.
And almost twice as many touches for the Cats. And he's judged the wing to absolute perfection. That is a flawless kick. More than you can say for the execution of the commentary.
He's had an incredible season, Daniel Jan Siracusa. Pre-season time, partially tore his anterior cruciate ligament, and it was touch and go whether or not to reconstruct it. Missed the whole year. They gave him a couple of weeks to get it right, and he did that. And he has gone on and just been so important in this side. Just kicked another important goal.
So Rodney Eade looking on. His team leads by 6 points, close to quarter time. But they do have the advantage of a win and have had in this first quarter. Boyd battles on. Chance for Bartel, immediately wrapped up by Cross. Blake standing off the pack. Handball off to Stokes, who delivers to Lonigan. Back to Stokes, runners inside. One of them, Prismal, kicks it short. Gamble, well done. Through the player, off to Varco. Kick around the body, and Otten's beautiful position. Read it superbly. We've got the drop on Brian Lake, and he's marked 20 metres from goal.
This is such an efficient forward line, this one of Geelong. They just work so well for each other. Off the footy there, Brad Otten's had a bit of space, but he got a fantastic block. Their teammates work so hard for each other.
3 goals last week. Should kick this. Locks it up again, close to quarter time.
And this kick is the reason why team rules exist. Because as they went forward, you'll see the centering the ball. Ball's gone wide. They flipped it back inside, and Ottens was able to run onto it almost uncontested. Well, it was uncontested in the end, but obviously a tough angle today, able to snap it across the body, and Otten's uncontested mark. It was clinical work.
So scores level, and it's just fascinating to try and assess this first quarter, given that we're just not sure what sort of influence that breeze is going to have. Cooney unable to be constrained. Cross and his running mate Boyd to half forward. They hit it hard, the Dogs there. Well done by Jen Siracusa. Griffin giving it plenty. Minson hasn't dragged down too many during the year. He's only taken 7 marks inside 50. He's been the forward target over 40 times, but his role is not necessarily to actually take those marks.
It's just to give that contest and the get-out kick, and it's been a good adjustment to the Bulldogs' game plan. It's worked well for them.
Harry Taylor on the way out, although it appeared for a moment they weren't.
This man's on fire. 19 possessions coming up.
Milburn tried to talk the ball back. Really, all he's done is set up one of these runs from Gilby. He had Barco with presence in the siren. There we go. Minson actually taking the mark inside 50, but it was after the siren. And we came here expecting a tight contest, boys. Scores a level at quarter time.
Well, it was interesting. I think that obviously Geelong dominated possession, and Milburn's had 19, Scarlett 14, Johnson 10. Compare that to the Bulldogs, much more efficient in 8, 7, 6, their top ball getters. So it's tight. You'd expect it to be. It's top of the table clash. It only gets better.
Points to who, Das, in the first quarter?
Marginally Geelong, but as good a game as I expected.
Scores level at quarter time, and as Vossi said, the best is yet to come.
Well, it's been an interesting clash. I mean, the matchups I was really excited about, just to find out who would match up on who. And Johnson's been very important early, no doubt about that. He's had 10 possessions.
And Dale Morris's opponent, Vossi, hasn't touched the footy. I can't remember a player getting 10 possessions on Dale Morris in a quarter ever.
Shows how good a player he is.
It's a big win for Steve Johnson.
He's a super player, Stephen Johnson. Rating very, very highly.
Hudson and Ottens don't contest.
Free kick's been awarded.
It was straight away to Hudson. Done with the initial handball, brings Cooney into play. And now the Bulldogs, how will they work into the breeze? Hargrave, that is an outstanding mark from Josh Hunt, who's really grown as a player through the latter parts of last year and through this season as well. Oh, Joel Corey, an unusual mistake. Allows Griffin in. And we can do it all again. Hargrave this time goes via Akamanis. Was careful with the left footer. Hits up Welsh, saw some late attention. It was too late.
Brilliant play from Aka, though. He always plays on into the corridor, and that's what he brings to the side. He was under a fair bit of pressure. There he is. That man is responsible for this goal. Just turned in, trusts his skills all the time. It was a great kick to Welsh, and you'd think he won't miss from about 20 metres straight in front.
Was it 50?
Probably is technically, Hutto, but I don't like
a little bit more.
So Welsh to fire at goal. 31 goals, 20 for the season going in. Hasn't had a great record against the Cats over the years. And has to get used to the conditions here. And he has with a goal to give them the lead. And that is a big goal into the breeze for the Bulldogs.
They're critical little wins. And just being able to have these gimme goals, they are going to count for so much at the end of the game when it's pretty tough to score. We saw by Milburn's stats just exactly where the game's being played, and it's on this flank here. So to be able to get these goals, it's going to be very valuable.
Bobby Davis looks on, looking pretty relaxed. Good start of the second term by the Bulldogs.
Just no umbrellas, of course, allowed in the crowd, Chriso, but a little bit of rain coming down. The coats are coming out.
Griffin's kick run down, spills to Cooney, off to Hargrave. Oh, good kick. It was a poor kick. It was a good result. Akamanis takes the mark at half forward. Ball holding up in the wind. Murphy sets himself underneath. Hahn, the quick snap out of the pad, and the Dogs have kicked 2 in a minute. Well, might be no umbrellas, but there's plenty of flags allowed, and Mitch Hahn has given the Western Bulldogs a nice handy break.
And this is the big adjustment to their game plan, Chriso, is they're prepared to kick this kick really quickly, even to a contest. 12 months ago, they wouldn't have done that, and they get manufactured goals. They're prepared to get a front and centre goal. It's not pretty. In the past, it was always hit up, lead up small forwards. That's a really good, simple goal.
Palmer Thompson's team unable to get hands on the footy in this second quarter. 12 disposals to 1 so far. And it's produced a couple of goals into the breeze, most importantly, for the Western Bulldogs. And they will be fired up now. Poor centre bounce. Cross can get them out of the middle again. Hudson left it behind. Varco and also Rook in there. Sweating on him. Out the back. This is Stokes. Thought he didn't know which way he was going for a moment. Chapman, and they sort it out. Oh, Selwood hesitates and he's lost.
Great tackle, Harbrow.
Is he bad? No, can't be paid forward to the mark in that circumstance.
That's what he's in the side to do, Jared Harbrow, is lay hard, strong tackles, and he nailed that one.
Yeah, he laid 6 last week and already 4 today. Hahn kicked the last goal, this time surrounded by Cats. Mackie. Milburn into the 20s. Harley. Steve Johnson and Morris. And again, Steve Johnson prevails, but his awareness wasn't as good as his usual skills there.
That's 2 now. That's 2. They're setting a standard, the Bulldogs. We saw it on Selwood early, and now on Johnson.
Intricate kick from Dylan Addison. Murphy wanted to go straight away. Forgiven by the umpire. It doesn't really matter because he played on anyway. Welsh pushing and shoving. Boyd. Can anyone find a thoroughfare? They can. It was the Cats through Scarlett and Selwood and Enright as they run and share. And now Stokes takes them forward.
Towards half forward. Mooney, a very good opening quarter. Gathers on the bounce. Little left footer looking for Lonigan. Just missed the target and just missed the goal. So behind to Geelong.
That's where they're so dangerous, Geelong, on the rebound from half-back. You see how quick that footy went from one end of the ground to the other.
Well, it's coming back just as quick, Das, because Farron Ray's got it already on the wing. Casual bounce and delivers to Murphy. Tackle count 17-13 in favour of the Dogs. Ackermanis has been important. Chip kick, Johnson's loose. 50 from goal. Thought about playing on. Decides to go back. Wouldn't make it from there. Gee, wobbly old kick straight to Milburn, who is having an absolute picnic in this match.
Well, he was lucky there because he was off Harbrell by about 75 metres, which is why Johnson was in space, because Hunt tried to cover for him. So he's just got to be careful there.
Walton's had his choice of Bartel and Blake, and neither of them could make up their mind. I don't think anyone could have been betwixt and between. Blake, this is Gamble. How elusive is he? He's pretty elusive. Off the left, he's got this nailed. Goldson.
Got a bit of applause in the commentary box from Michael Voss, Ryan Gamble, and he earned it. It was very, very special. Got around a few opponents. A couple of missed tackles from the Bulldog defenders. They won't be happy with that, but there's a man on the verge of playing in a very good side. He wants to be in that side come finals time, and it's a good thing.
Bossy, it's hard to get a place in the Geelong team, but this helps, doesn't it?
Well, just the initiative and to be able to back yourself in there, show poise, break a tackle, have that strength, and then the poise on the left foot to be able to kick that goal. Don't underestimate how much skill you have to be able to do that.
Great stuff from Ryan Gamble. Margin back to 6 points. Blake got first hands on it. Cooney jams it on the boot wide. Is it too wide? It is. The wind carrying it out on the full. So the free kick will come to Corey Enright, who coming in today had accumulated 73 possessions in the last 2 games. Quite remarkable. Corey's got it.
Well, we take a breath. It's almost the first time I've had a stop play.
Mark Blake getting involved. Intent on giving it off. Bartel around in a circle, then always the outlet back to Scarlett. Harley, now this is dangerous. Murphy needs to keep his feet, and he does. Good pressure coming from Harley. Snaps to a vacant goal square. And Bartel can get back. 50 metres from any Western Bulldog. Wasn't a great handball. Welsh, his handball missed the mark as well. Golden opportunity missed there by the Dogs. Boyd put it on the ground. He's penalised. No, free kick. Advantage code. Hudson from 15 metres misses. Oh my dear.
Was this 1v2? Because we need to take that minute out of the play.
What a miss from Ben Hudson.
Oh, there's misses everywhere. Bartel.
Now we look at
the tackle.
Then the tackle. It was on. He let go of the ball. Smart play, but then the miss at the end.
Cats on a break now. Selwood for Gamble, and also Watkins if he can bend down quick enough. He doesn't have to. Sits up for him, the dangerous Chapman. They roll on, but not for long. Gilby in the road. Harris goes for a spin. Gilby again. The crowd not so appreciative.
Free kick to Farron right there. And now 50 as well.
I think I slipped back into old habits and called him Harris instead of Lake, of course, a moment ago for the Dogs. But this is Farron Ray.
I think he's giving him 100.
He might be here.
Might be for abuse, I reckon.
He is.
So, what constitutes 100? Is that really bad abuse, is it?
Might have been abuse followed by some more abuse to Paul Chapman.
That's the lowest you can call
And it's every bit of 100 also.
100 metres, 2 abuse. There you go. Straight
2
on.
abuse, I hear him say.
Yep.
One more. Thank you.
This isn't as easy a shot as it looks because that breeze is pretty swirly down there.
He said that's the lowest you can call us. Here's Farron Ray. A steady foot required. And a steady foot prevails.
Paul Chapman had a bit over on the paper today about the fact that he doesn't lose his temper too often, and he's got it under control. Might have slipped back into old habits, Paul Chapman. Wasn't all that happy. And the umpires they pay that. If there's any abuse and he's followed up with a 100-metre penalty, there's a bit more abuse on the...
Maybe that was what the second 50 was for.
A 100-metre penalty resulting in a Farron Ray goal, and the margin now 2 goals to the Dogs, who have kicked 3-1 in this second quarter into the breeze. Blake, Chapman and Boyd get tangled. Secondary bounce. Well, both sides have been able to work out how to kick into the breeze. They haven't quite been able to take advantage with it so far. Minson, Kelly dragged down by Addison, who's been very good. Varco, Gamble into the path of Steve Johnson. Here's an opportunity. Good pressure from Murphy, but he feeds it back. Harley, just outside 50. Kick to the hot spot. Ottens, what can he manufacture here? Good tackle coming from Lakey, ties him up. And we'll get a bounce. The top of the square. Cats in attack.
We should keep an eye, boys, on the absence of Ablett and the influence it has today, and also Cameron Ling and his job. Cooney has 9 disposals so far. Ling normally would be on him for sure.
Ottens wins, cross, and Lake just punches it through for a rush behind. The best thing in the circumstance, I'm sure. Margin 11 points.
Your assessment so far on the absence of Ablett?
Oh, look, he would have made a huge difference. It would have been another player that you would think would have had a dozen or so possessions. That's just how good he is, no matter who was on him. No doubt he would have added something to the side.
I mean, we saw Sydney without Goods. As the Bulldogs are a little sloppy. Is it a mark? It is a mark taken by Everett. Without Goods a couple of weeks ago, lacking an initiator, and that's going to be interesting to see if Geelong have an initiator. They certainly have enough players
well, they
provide.
should. They've got 9 All-Australians, so if they haven't got an initiator, rely on 2 players to generate that.
This is Tiller. I'm only asking the questions. Rossi, don't have to bite my head off.
Sorry, mate.
Not coach yet. Gilby on the last line. Cats have just locked them in for the moment. But that's the way to get out of it with, well, that wasn't. First one was great, clean field kicking. The second one, terrific smother from Tom Lonigan. And the Cats marshal their forces at half forward. Blake looking for Chapman. He owes them one. And everyone falls down and it stays in. Everett for Tiller. And now Eagleton can carry them out of defence.
Handball to Hargrave. That's the prop. Oh, dangerous handball. Ray crunched by Corey. Got the handball out. Gee, it was given a long time. Everett couldn't get a clear disposal. Corey fighting on. Tackled by Tiller and Eagleton. And he earns the free kick this time. Perhaps there was an initial one there for Joel Corey. Too far out to score, but kicks into the pocket. Johnson couldn't quite hold on. And touches it over. Boundary throw-in.
Mentioned it earlier, but he's causing Dale Morris a lot of trouble. Steve Johnson. There's the first tackle on Farron Ray. Was able to play on.
Alton's had his arm held by Lake. No free kick. Chapman, hands and knees. Handballs along the ground to Kelly. Got up in the tackle. Well played. Enright. Gamble. Conceding ground here, the Cats. Bartel, though, off a step. Kicks it inside, attacking 50. Jan Syracuse had to go back. Couldn't take the mark. Now he's hatching it. What's going to happen? The umpire letting it go. And surely must call for it now. Showed great courage. Gian Syracuse going back, but couldn't hold on to the mark. So a bounce 25 metres from the Geelong goal.
And outside of this, there is a perimeter of Geelong players that are free around the 50-metre mark. So the Bulldogs must maintain possession if they get loose here.
Good body work there from Lake against the renowned ruckman, and Gian Syracuse is their way out. Rossi said lots of Cats there, but the other way to avoid it was to kick it to the boundary line, which they've done.
Well, they've done that well because that's what they had to generate. They didn't have a lot of players fall to the ball. Nakamanis was the only one near it. It would have come straight back, so it's almost like a win.
Vincent having his turn against Blake and tapping down beautifully there for Griffin. This is Cross, become an elite player over the last 4 years. Brad Johnson patched up, getting the handball away. Welsh, the bootlaces of Prismal and Taylor. You can see it's a hot potato and they want to get rid of it quickly. And that is mission accomplished. Chapman, Johnson and Mooney look at each other and it's yours to go, big man. He takes the mark and Here's Mackie intruding in the forward line and making the most of it for the Cats.
Well, if you could give a snapshot of the way Geelong play their footy, that is the way they do it. They win the footy off you at half back. They stream it out normally through the corridor, and Andrew Mackie finishes with the goal. Cam Mooney's the one that worries me at the moment. Vossi's now got Ryan Hargrave as an opponent when Brad Ottens is in the ruck. In fact, I think Lake's going back to him now, but Cam Mooney has set up a lot of goals so far for Geelong.
Margin 5 points, and an incident a little earlier today. Ben Hudson, right leg going out to Bartel. Right. Any problems there, Bossy?
No, I reckon he'll be all right. It was a little tap.
Bartel certainly didn't.
He had some words afterwards.
Change stride, yes he did, but didn't go to ground. So back in the centre, Ottens favoured by the bounce. Now takes it, handball off to Bartel. Kelly dispossessed. Griffin. Well done, Kelly. Raked it from underneath Griffin, and Cooney's pushed in the back. So free kick against Selwood. Off to Griffin. Quickly inside attacking 50. Harbrow fists it on. Only as far as Hunt read it well. Off to Stokes. Draws a player. Steve Johnson working high up the ground this afternoon. Confronted by a couple, so forced to go back to Mackie. Look out. Good tackle coming from Harbrow. Selwood couldn't find the handle. Dogs there in number. Cross desperate. Shovels it back to Morris. Now Gilby. Got a loose player at half forward. Instead he decides to go to Cooney, who finds that loose player at half forward. Harbrow didn't quite get to him, but Cooley puts it on the boot. Getting across. That was great stuff from Taylor. Hahn close to the line. Can't keep it in. And that was excellent play from Harry Taylor.
That's a big win for the Dogs because they were able to get the footy back off Geelong across their half-back line. That is where they set up all their goals, Geelong. So if you can get the footy back, give yourself another opportunity inside 50, you're halfway there.
We can get down to Howie in a moment. If anything, the weather looks like it's just improving for the moment. As the Dogs into the breeze in this quarter, Harbrow, their desperation has been a real hallmark of their play today. We don't have to even say which team's got the free kick. The crowd telling the story along with the pictures. Selwood and Mackie. What do you reckon, Howie, down there? Things on the improve?
Spot on, Hutto. It rained for about 10 minutes, just cleared, and I think that wind's probably just dropped off a little bit. Still definitely favouring Geelong, though.
All right, Prismal popping up in the middle of the ground. It's a wobbly one. Not great delivery into Mooney and co. Chance for a breath or two and just trying to assess what's been going on in this quarter. Boys, what's your feeling?
Well, obviously the first couple of goals to the Bulldogs out of the centre and quick clearances. Geelong have steady. Cam Mooney's the one that looks so dangerous for Geelong. Brian Lake will need to get the job done, I think, if they're going to win.
Here he is, Dust, trying to crash through 3 Bulldog tackles. He can't. He's brought down eventually on attacking 50.
He's only had 9 disposals, Chriso, but I reckon every one of them has resulted in a positive play for Geelong.
6 marks along with that. Been a good player. Fisted forward by Minson. Now free kick plucked out by the non-officiating umpire.
There's a hold against James Kelly off the footy.
Okay, so
go to Cooney.
It's good they're picking them up now. I'm glad the umpires off the contest are looking for those, because we want our ball players having a realistic chance of having a crack at it.
Slow start by Cooney, but coming in for 12 disposals, not 15. Eildon a little surprised by that. Got it back to Cooney, but Geelong pressure immense. Morris somehow gets it clear. Minson in a good spot, and he takes the mark. Held it low enough according to the umpire. Wants to go on with it. Handball to Hahn, off to Boyd, who quickly gave it to Addison. Now wants it deep. The man in the goal square is Murphy. Got hands to it, couldn't take the mark. Gian Siracusa should kick a goal, and he does. Margin back out to 11 points in favour of the Dogs, and both sides have played some good football into this win.
Let's speak about, I know I was pumping him up a little bit earlier today, but when we speak about the elite small forwards in the game, this man on screen probably doesn't get mentioned at the top as he should. I mean, he's kicked 2 goals today, started on the interchange bench. His work rate, Bossy, is unbelievable, and he's just so consistent, so dangerous.
Gee, no centre breaks for the Cats this quarter, where the Dogs have taken the initiative early in this second term into the breeze. They've stolen the march on the Cats. They lead by 11. Jen Siracusa becomes the first multiple goal kicker for the Bulldogs. He's kicked 21 goals for the season. He's deadly accurate. He's a danger for the Cats. Out of the middle, can they get a clearance? They can. Varco. Been some good signs in recent weeks about his improvement. Hunt found a way, but undid all his good work. Gilby for a Griffin-Enright contest. Enright with his mind on defence there primarily. Achieves his goal, gets the plaudits. What a talented young man is Ryan Griffin. We're going to enjoy watching he and Adam Cooney lead this Bulldogs midfield over the next 4 or 5 years. Martell can't find a way to get it onto his hands. Brad Johnson, Farron Ray. Same again. Tiller the target in the middle. Gamble turned him around. Tiller won the free, and he's got Everett drifting down from defence. Now Murphy's deep ahead of him, and Hahn would be his most immediate option if he decides to gain some territory. He goes back. Gilby. We know he can go on either side. A bounce handball. A little scrappy. Varco. And he also misses the mark. Prismal. Bartel. At the back, Kelly. And finally, Johnson's on here. Forward he is. And he can go to work.
Johnson now takes it on, attacking 50. Gets the handball clear to Prismal. Can he get an accommodating bounce? He can. He feeds it back. Bartel, 2 steps, bang from 45. Offline. He'll be disappointed with that, the Brownlow medalist. Margin back to 10 points.
It shows how hard Stevie Johnson works, doesn't it? When he finds himself 3.5 forward, almost the mistake there.
Oh, little solo from Brad Johnson. Little Irish manoeuvre.
Just to continue, as good as a player he is, he still finds himself in space, which ultimately rewards his hard work.
And this is Ryan Griffin for Acker, who we haven't seen just for the last 5 or so minutes. Running a little bit of havoc, causing a bit of havoc earlier on. This is Harry Taylor. This is this share and share alike Cats mantra out of defence. From Mackie. Gambles on. He'll look out. You'll see Bartel inside if he looks. He didn't. He went longer. Lonigan with Stevie Johnson lurking. Morris watching closely. Still remains the case. The behind conceded. Back to 9 points.
Geelong bench. Brad Johnson spent the last few minutes inside defence of 50. Back to Lake. Gilby. And Gilby finds Tiller at half-back. Good spoil coming a few moments ago from Lindsay Gilby. Small player, up high in a big pack. Good kick this time from Tiller. Jan Siracusa got a couple of runners to his inside. Addison's one, Ray is the other. Good chase from Kelly. Ray gets onto the left boot, kicks it to the goal square. Hahn at the back, Mackie in front. Enright, Rook, Taylor. So again, numbers winning out. They get numbers around the contest in defence. Mackie, little fumble. Well done, Griffin. Pouncing on the loose football. Ackermanis brings it back to a central location, but steaming out. Matthew Scarlett chips it short. Blake, well done by Big Blake. Got it back to Scarlett. And again, the kick is good. Marked this time by Chapman.
Cats thrusting forward. Blake calls for it in the middle, but he's got a good target in Lonigan, who swallows that and then had to handball and adapt. He played on Blake. He's finding more of the footy these days, and though the crowd love it, Bartel, he really blew that contact on himself.
We're seeing this more and more, where players see an oncoming player. In the old days, Vossi, you turn your body to protect yourself, but the players go head first because they know there's going to be a free kick at the end of it. We see a lot in today's football.
Isn't it amazing how players can adapt to the rules very quickly? And it creates behaviours. So if you have a rule, well, players will try to exploit it as best they can, and that's what they do now.
A tough one to adjudicate for the umpire, but yeah, there was a clear case it seemed there.
It was still too high.
Well, I don't know, Vossi. If you duck your head, you can't expect to get the free kick, but free kick it is, and goal, more importantly, it is for the Cats.
What else is the changing face of the game, Hutto, is who would have thought 5 years ago you'd be sitting approaching half-time in a game and your fullback And your half-back flanker would be your best leading possession winners. Milburn's had 21, Scarlett's had 20. And that is Geelong. They can be so damaging across half-back, and that is what the Bulldogs need to stop.
Mark Thompson, Cats have kicked 2 of the last 3 goals. Trail by just 3 points now. Tight, tough, uncompromising, 1 versus 2.
Well done, Hudson.
Boyd spirals it towards centre half forward. Enright going back, takes a good mark.
Not you, Hudder.
Oh, sorry.
Mackie, not too much to go to, so forced to retreat. Back to Taylor. Lovely left foot kicking action, Harry Taylor. Scarlett.
Well, he will be the first defender to have 45 possessions in a game.
Kick to the lead of Steve Johnson. Morris infringing, so free kick to Johnson. He's been busy, Steve Johnson.
On the top.
14th disposal. He rifles it to centre half forward. A chance at the back for Chapman. Well done by Hargrave. Off to Jones, Siracusa, Eagleton, now Everett. Morris has to sit and wait. Got hands to it and couldn't quite do it. Oh, I think that landed on the line or just in front of it. I love, we haven't had a look at that, but I reckon Joel Corey was a bit stiff there. Free kick to Boyd on centre wing for the Dogs.
Minson again, the big beacon up for him to aim for. Cats aware of the strategy, and Harley, he just kicks quite blindly as it turns out. And Dylan Addison, been a good story this year, played every game after playing only half last year. Cross and Cooney. No one went to Murphy, allowed him a bit more time, but there's Cats swarming everywhere. Corey just not quite as clean as he would have liked. Eagleton through the labyrinth in the middle of Skilled Stadium. Around the corner for Eagleton for a cross Chapman contest. The crowd, of course, completely unbiased. Thought that was deliberate.
Bartel, a lot of it in this second term. Boundary throw in. Boyd. Taken though by Enright. Support at centre half back provided by Scarlett. Kick in the path of Varco. Now this will be interesting. Very talented Travis Varco. Lost Robert Murphy from 45. Delivers to Watts. Perhaps would have been better going for goal. Chance at the back. Oh, is that deliberate? No, Tiller disguised it well enough. Boundary throw in deep in the right forward pocket for the Cats.
Probably got out of jail here a bit. It was a big one-on-one contest. Very rarely you see Murphy lose his feet. Win to Varco.
Win behind him. Ottens decisively down. Campbell off to Rook. Vacant goal square except for late getting back. Bumbled the mark. And through for a behind. So 2-point ball game.
Oh, that's a poor kick out of defence. Selwood anticipating beautifully. Disposals this quarter are basically dead level after Geelong had over 60 more in the first quarter. Joel Selwood, not a noted goal kicker. Kicked 4-6 for the season. Now's a good time to start landing them, but he just had it touched on the line. And we're almost back where we started at the start of the game and at quarter time. Just 1 point in it, boys.
This is the game we were hoping for, wasn't it, Das? Tight and tough. Each side trying to find their way. And I was really looking forward to being able to see Joel Selwood play today. He's got a bit of a minder also. And with Ablett missing, it becomes a bit of a priority for the opposition.
Rake in trouble here, so he concedes another rush behind. And it's all locked up. 7 for the Dogs, 16 the Cats. 16 scoring shots to 11. And a few of those behinds for Geelong. Oh, gee, that was a harsh call, I thought. Boyd off to Cooney. They got out of it this time, the Dogs. Hargrave, Cooney.
Just stop running a bit at the moment, the Bulldogs.
They have indeed, Bossy.
Half-time's approaching. That will have to be in their mind.
Morris. Eagleton had to kick it quickly and did it effectively. Johnson.
Didn't see the lips move.
Hargrave. Kick towards Hahn at the back. Now here's a chance for Harborough. Wants his left side, got support inside. Daniel Cross. Murphy wasn't a great handball. Murphy's quick kick to Ackermanis. Left foot snap, vacant goal square. Behind. Gee, he would have eaten that up playing for the Brisbane Lions, was he?
Was the mark paid?
I don't think it was 15. I think it was called play on. So the Dogs with the narrowest of margins.
Yeah, the umpire, I think, called play on basically because Acker did, so it's hard to know whether he actually would have paid the mark or not. Selwood and Harley collaborating a couple of times on the way out. Bulldogs by 1. Wouldn't they be buoyed if they could go in at half-time in front? A scrappy old kick from Mackie, and the wind will just take it the rest of the journey over the line. Well, they've got 50 seconds to either hang on or build on their 1-point lead, the Western Bulldogs. Had a good record down here, even though they haven't played against the Cats in a couple of years. They've won 5 of the last 6 games down here. Mackie, surging ball to the pocket. There's Tiller again.
Almost see a lot of fatigue on both sides. They've worked really hard in this half and almost out on their feet. 40 seconds to go. They'll look forward to this spell at half-time, regather, readjust a few things and attack the second half.
Let's see who the danger's going to be with the Cats. There's Stokes waiting and Varco. Here's Stokes. Chanced his arm. Chapman. And of course, Steve Johnson's not far away. Lake and Farron Ray, what a bonus he's been this year for the Dogs. He's really stepped up to be another key player for them, Darcy.
He has. I know he had an injury at the start of the year, but really important for them now.
So the last chance here for Geelong, and Ottens finds it just inside attacking 50. This would be a very handy goal as we tick down to half-time with the Bulldogs lead. They got it out to 12 points earlier on in the quarter, but good fight back by the Cats.
How many fullbacks do we see with 24 possessions coming into half-time? It has changed, hasn't it? Scarlett, unbelievable.
This would give them a little boost as they head to half-time. Brad Ottens from outside 50. Slight wind at his back. Across the face and through for a behind, and we are back where we started. 47 points apiece at half-time, 1 versus 2. The big game at Skilled Stadium.
Yeah, it couldn't have been any better, Chris. So it's a tight, even contest. Doesn't get any more even than that. A win going to one end, but the second half, Hutto, is going to be very special.
And stay with us at half-time. Some very interesting news on the Geelong injury front to come. What a game. All right, thanks, Howie. Looks as if Lake might have the job, Vossi, as we get underway for the third quarter.
He's been important, Mooney, hasn't he? He hasn't has much ball as Scarlett, but he's certainly been very important. The impact that he's had, and there's the match-up. Everett, of course, has gone back. Jeez, it's been tight, and it's been frenetic in the intensity.
Live around the country. Hope you're enjoying all the action. The Cats and the Dogs. Bartel and Corey.
Let it go now.
And straight away we're seeing Tiller got some sort of defensive role on Melbourne.
Yeah, look, I'm just looking at Darren Milburn. He'll play 20 metres in front of anyone. Had 22 disposals in the first half. Always trying to set up play from half-back.
Bartel comes from the side to get involved, and that's exactly what he does do. The Cats with the first foray forward of the second half. Keeping your feet is what it's all about. And Lake's been able to draw the contact there. Well done. So the Dogs with that breeze, which is a little fluky, as we said, not straight down the ground. Is there anything that's perhaps changed a fraction? Depending on which flag you look at, Chris. Varco stayed in the mix there. Gilby first to recover. And he goes back for a second helping.
Oh, well done.
Morris has had a bit of an off day. Cross with the bounce handball. This is labour intensive from the Dogs. The Cats also not able to really handle the terrain all that well, but Kelly. Now I think it's almost like a downfield, or it's going to come back to Joel Corey.
He's played it against Matthew Boyd for just holding on when he was on the ground.
He's had 9 games with 30 touches or more, Joel Corey, getting a bit more attention today. Just the 11 disposals so far. That's a beautifully placed kick for Stokes. And the Cats will hit the front.
Yeah, he read that pretty well, Matty Stokes. It was probably always going to drop in the breeze, and he spends a lot of time out here at Skilled Stadium. He understands the win, and he read that beautifully.
But that's where, as a defender, you need to know that that's what's going to happen, and he just did it better than his immediate opponent there.
Has a great ability to pop up in just the right places, doesn't he, Matthew Stokes? 24-9 for the season. And no real issues for him there. Geelong lead by that goal.
This is where we see the free kick. We'll see it towards the end there. I'm not 100% sure what the free kick was for unless something happened afterwards, but there's that movement. Not watching the ball in flight and watching his man. That was the critical point there, and that's how we got the break on him.
So the Cats drawing first blood in this third quarter, lead it by 6 points. Ottens to do battle with Hudson. Give it to Hudson that time. Sharked by Corey. Got it off to Bartel. He scrambles a kick towards half forward. Chapman comes to meet it. Put down by Addison. Cooney's handball ineffective. Rook gets it clear. Stokes back to Bartel, really getting involved in the game. But that kick not great. And a boundary throw in. There's the hit. Addison on Chapman. So the Cats applying the early pressure in this third quarter. Hudson. Steve Johnson did well. Corey went to ground. Gave it up. Harbour out. The Dogs running in number here. Ryan Griffin. Good chase from Bartel. But Griffin takes him on. Kicks inside attacking 50. Wasn't a great kick. Cats have the numbers. Brad Johnson did well to sock it to the top of the goal square. Ackermanis is always dangerous in this situation. Off to Eagleton, the Welsh handball. And Hunt gets back. Takes the mark on the goal line.
Just sense the Cats have lifted a gear, but the Bulldogs are responding in turn. The second half, just a little bit more of a frenzy about than the first. Scotty Welsh, an experienced goal kicker.
He's on the tough side.
Yeah, he
of
is.
the ground.
I think he'll carry the distance okay, but it's a bit of a swirling breeze. Geez, I love watching a player with the ability of the speed of Griffin just to turn around, look at someone and take them on.
Yeah, it's great stuff, isn't it?
You loved it, Chris.
I did, Hutto, I did.
Here's Scotty Welsh, and he has not been able to get the accuracy that was required. I think Darce was just a little bit worried about you there.
Here it is again. Have a look. Okay, I've still got enough toe to take you on. There's not many players in the competition. There's probably about 3 or 4 who've got the ability to do that.
And the courage to do it.
One of the others is Gary Ablett, and he's not playing.
Hunt kicks short dangerously until he had a golden opportunity. Couldn't mark. Murphy had more time than he thought. Hoyt said high to the pocket. Johnson at the back. Hunt did very well to spoil, and a boundary throw in. Gee, that was a golden opportunity lost by the Dogs.
There was almost too much respect paid here as you see the turnover. Johnson was waiting for the third up and no one came, so unfortunately the ball went out of bounds.
Enright's got it, not letting it go.
And he just went through that lesson with Harbrow afterwards, didn't he, Voss? He said you should have come over to take the mark.
Yeah, and that's what he was waiting for. He'd protected the ball, he'd grounded his opponent, and he was waiting for someone to fly, and he decided to stay down. So next time I think he'll have a go.
Cooney's got it. Can't get clear. Somehow got boot the ball and has kicked it. Bounces just inside, so another boundary throw in.
It's been the big improvement in Adam Cooney is his strength then to be able to stand up in a tackle and still get a disposal away.
Ottens doing very well. Hudson, though, fights on second effort. Ottens did it all himself. Off to Mackie. Bartel, look out. Good tackle, Harbrow. Scarlett, handball too slick for Mackie. Missed the target. Boundary throw in. The Dogs forwards applying enormous pressure, and so are the fans.
Rodney Eade making sure he stays hydrated under all this intensity as Ottens brings it to his feet. Even the Seagulls having their say. Everyone's got a special comment in this game. What about you, Vossi?
None yet, mate.
No. Fair enough. Nothing like honesty. Ryan Griffin into the goal square. Brad Johnson, great release for Tiller. Milburn gives him the rounds of the kitchen. And another ball up. The crowd getting a little restless.
This is fantastic from the Bulldogs. Just keep it in that defensive 50. The longer it's there, the more pressure it creates on the opposition.
And the defenders get more and more tired, and the kicks become shorter. Robert Murphy, Ackermanis, Brad Johnson was their head contact there. Waved all on by the umpire. Hunt and Enright and Corey and Kelly.
Well done again.
And there's no escaping that time.
Well called, Bossy. It was a massive win to the Bulldogs, this, because we had probably 6 or 7 contests inside 50, and the skipper, Brad Johnson, been an error in his game. As good as he's been his whole career, I know that he's wanted to get better at this, and look at the determination in a big game. Problem was, if they lost that clearance, the whole 3/4 of the ground had 3 Geelong players in it, and they would have whisked the ball out and had a scoring opportunity. So big win for the Bulldogs, and well done to the skipper.
He's got a good record against the Cats. He's averaged 2.2 goals a game over his career, and in fact has kicked 16 goals in the past 3 matches against Geelong. I don't think any of those goals would mean as much to him as this kick here, if he had been able to put it through. But unfortunately, he never really got it online, did he, Brad Johnson?
That would have been a big win for the Bulldogs. And I know, obviously, Brad Johnson wanted to kick it, but that would have been a massive psychological win for the Bulldogs.
Milburn kicks short dangerously. OK. Now, can Geelong get it out of their defensive 50 this time? Mackie does it easily. Enright have struggled in the last 3 or 4 minutes. Rook, Bartel escaped the Harbrow tackle. Back to Enright. Kick towards Mooney. Mooney does very well. Look out, Hudson just came straight off the bench in front of him. Got the handball over to Lake. Oh, dangerous. Put cross under the pump. Good tackle coming from Selwood. Steve Johnson had a long time to get rid of it. Rook. Lake and Kelly going hard at it. Geelong fans want a high tackle. Umpire Bozo just out of position there. We'll get a bounce.
It hasn't been the 25 goals to 22 goals that you might have expected that Telstra known, but the intensity and the tackle efforts have been as good as any game this year.
Cross, and this time he gets a... No, it's... Yes, it is. So he was standing the wrong way, umpire Bozo, originally, but the free kick to Cross probably could have got one, as we saw in the replay just a few moments ago. So Daniel Cross decides to use the wind, kick it high to half forward. Hunt in a good spot through his fingers. Scarlett backing him up off to Chapman. Harbrow got the tackle in just. Milburn now Enright, and again the Cats out of trouble and away here with through Rook.
And he goes straight for Mooney. Bartel and Gamble, the next targets. Both are being matched closely. Steve Johnson also there. It's long and strong. Is Bartel going to go up? He leaves it for Gamble. Gilby, Barcoat, Morris. Little chance here to go straight back down the ground. And Kelly in a position to pounce. But the Dogs steadfast. And this is Gilby. The arm wrestle continues here. Blake does well. Kelly says, get out of my way. I've got a little bit more mobility than you, big fella. But maybe you could mount a better argument because Kelly succumbed to the pressure.
Credit to Blake. He's really improved his ground level ability, and he's actually taking more chances along the ground, and that's what he needs to do to become a really elite player.
Kelly improvising as a ruckman there. Cooney dishes out for Eagleton, and the Dogs are away again.
Eagleton from centre wing kicks it 60 metres towards Jansu Akusa in the pocket. Got hands to it, couldn't hold on. Boundary throw in. Kicked a couple of goals this afternoon. Jansu Akusa, Mark Thompson.
Been 24 minutes since the Dogs have kicked a goal.
They've had it inside their attacking 50 for long periods in this quarter. Selwood, little give, missed the target. Hahn. Now it doesn't go over, kept in by Chapman. Across his goal face, Harley. Marks right on the boundary line. Scarlett. It was there.
Well, he didn't actually go over the mark, did he?
No, he didn't. Well, he didn't go over the mark, but the umpire called him back. I think the double whistle means you've got to come back.
He's Eagles not happy, Brad.
And Brad
I just learned something new in my 15 years at Chris Owen. So means come back. It's a massive penalty, that.
Comes from spending a long time with umpires. Selwood now has got it in the centre of Skilled Stadium. Kicked to Mooney again on the surge. The Big Cats doing well this afternoon. Going back towards Gamble. And Everett had the front position, and with the wind, the kicking into the wind, that's the best spot to be. But Gamble somehow was able to get over the top of him. And just enough depth on the kick.
We've been saying it from the start of the game, but Brian Lake has just allowed Cam Mooney to lead up too easily. He's been prepared to give him a couple of metres, and he's killed him every time in the lead up. He'll cost him the game if he doesn't play tighter.
Kicked one, Gamble. Should kick this from 10 metres and does. Cats out by 10.
Well, you mentioned it pretty well there, Das, because that is a typical Geelong ball movement coming through half forward. Mooney comes and hits up, then he turns and pivots and kicks it to that pressure position, and good enough to be able to take the mark. As good as the Bulldogs have been, I reckon they've missed Williams today.
You've talked about this a lot today, Das. Cameron Mooney, he's had 11 disposals, but he's been involved in so much as the centre half forward. Is it time for Rodney to make a move or not?
Well, Vossi mentioned they really miss Tom Williams. I'm not sure who they go to next. Maybe Hargrove.
Selwood out of the middle. You can feel the buzz around Skilled Stadium. Cats up and running. Corey for Mooney again. Late.
So that's better from Lake.
Right with him every step of the way. Gives away the free.
You can handle that because at least it's a slow play. If you're on him and you give away a free kick, no problems.
Corey starts to get involved. And Chapman. Some of the bigger names for the Cats. Just lifting. Fair bit of space for Stokes again. Now it's a tight angle. And he doesn't look like he wants to have a shot because Steve Johnson's got away. He's going to run. Oh, that was too easy for him. And you can see the delight around Skilled Stadium. The Cats have erupted and so have the fans.
Well, the moment's arrived, boys. The Western Bulldogs want to be a serious contender in 2008, up against the best side in the competition. This is the moment where you stand up. The skipper, Brad Johnson's put himself into the centre. So's Jason Ackermanis. They need to get the job done now.
Blake wins it out. Shark by the captain. Brad Johnson kick towards half forward. Out comes Harbrell. Little give okay. Jan Siracusa tries to bring it back. It'll land in the pocket and Hunt goes back and takes the mark.
And the move they had to make, Cross has now gone to Mooney. Lake had to make that change. He's gone deeper. And straight away, as soon as Lake went back, now Lonigan has moved up the field. So they're trying to get Lake up further up the field. I'd also get Boyd back onto Johnson if he comes back onto the ground. They've got to change it up. Geelong are making their move.
Morris, I think you meant.
Morris, I should say.
So Taylor's got it from Prismal. As Das said, gee, it's all in front of the Dogs here. Big challenge for them. High towards Lonigan and Lake in front. Good stuff from Addison. Gee, I've been impressed with his game this afternoon. Gilby off the cross. Farron Ray kicks long towards half forward. Murphy and Harley. Harley, a little nudge on Murphy. Hahn been quiet. Murphy ran straight into Milburn. And he gets a free kick. Not quite sure that was there. A few people agree with me. Off to Harbrow. Awkward looking kick, a poor kick. Standing in the hole is Selwood. Short to Blake.
This really is the moment, isn't it, for the Dogs? Can sense it around the stadium. Fans on their toes. Cats running over the Dogs at the moment. All a little bit rushed, but they've maintained possession now, the turnover. And this is where the Bulldogs need to punish. Eagleton just floating the handball. He's going to get out of jail here, I think. High contact on Eagleton. The fans not approving, but that matters little. Chapman, the offender. Eagleton changes his mind, and it was a good decision, cutting the kick right down to Gin Syracuse. Will he take on the responsibility of kicking a goal when they need it? He tried it, and it was worth a shot. But it's a tough angle on the goals from there.
A couple of the Bulldogs forwards really need to get in the game. One's Mitch Hahn, just 4 disposals, and Robert Murphy hasn't been at his all-time best today as well.
Taylor in the back pocket. Short, Selwood, it's dangerous. Hit the ground running though. Short kick to Corey. Escapes the Boyd tackle. That wasn't happening in the first quarter. Corey kicks to half forward. Kelly on the lead. Couldn't quite take it, but recovers first at ground level. At centre half forward. Across the ground. Hunt in space, but coming off the bench. Tiller ran straight at Hunt. Well played, Stephen Tiller. Free kick. Bulldogs. Come to Daniel Cross. Off to Everett. And well done by Harvey. Good closing speed there on Harbrow, who just hesitated. Should have attacked the ball and marked it in front of his eyes. He didn't. Boundary throwing on the wing.
She had the crowd loving it. All of a sudden they've erupted after half-time. Tom Harley is playing a terrific game, particularly since the break. Cooney, the young leader, confronted by Selwood, had to kick, and here's Harley again. Talking of leaders, left it behind though for Welsh to the goal square. Oh, good grab, and it's Jen Syracuse to get one back. They just needed to take the mark.
Gee, that was a big play.
Get a goal from somewhere.
That was a massive play. Geelong have been really putting the foot down. This goal just steadies them a little, keeps them in touch.
8 clearances for Cooney.
And it's only 9 points the difference now. And Daniel G. Syracuse has got 3.
Yeah, it was a really good call, Adam Cooney. When you need your good players to just understand the game, he just won himself a clearance, wheeled himself to the contest, broke away from the pack, and Jan Syracuse, who has been fantastic, kicked 3 goals today. Really important goal, keeps this game well and truly alive. 9 points to Geelong. Big centre clearance coming up.
Rodney Eade, they needed that, the Dogs. Margin back to 9 points. Just sensed the Cats on a roll. Crowd lifting them out by 15. And before that, 16 points. The Dogs, can they kick the next? Hudson versus Ottens. Ottens wins it. Cross again, desperate. Draws another free kick. First in under the footy, Daniel Cross. Off to Murphy, coming off the back of the centre square. Deep. Mackie the fist. Hahn the crumb. Snaps back to the goal square. What sort of bounce? Off to the right. Margin back to 8 points.
Instantaneously, the Cats have got the ball in motion again. This is Maxi Rook on the outer wing. We've got 2 players that have changed their name in this game. It's a bit hard. Here's Kelly. Feel the tension in the crowd as well. Will they play a part? I tell you, it's getting dark down here again. The training lights are on, but in the last
not making much of a difference.
No, they might have trouble seeing the ball. Mooney's going to shake this for Ottens, and it was well shaped. Well done, Hudson. Adapted nicely. Griffin, dog spring into action. Harbrow, eyes darting. Somebody help me, he says. They couldn't. Harry Taylor, not a noted goal kicker, but take note now, that's on the way. Oh, what a slashing bit of play from the defender.
Ouch.
Yep.
That was great stuff, wasn't it? Harbrow had nothing to go to. That's why he had to wheel around and try and find an option inside, but he was stalked by Harry Taylor. Gee, it was good stuff.
Well, big moment in the game, just right here. Jared Harbrow decides to go back in the corridor, and well done by Harry Taylor, chopped it off. I don't think you've got any problems as a coach with what Jared Harbrow did. It's a young player. taking the opposition on, wanting to win the game. You've got to live with those mistakes. They happen. They've got to live with it, but it's a 14-point margin.
So back in the centre, Ottens down to Bartel. Good little give to Corey, kick smothered. Eagleton off a step, non-dominant boot to half forward, reaching over Welsh, charging through Hahn. Well done, Taylor. Oh, you can see the confidence rising already. Good little kick. Mark taken by Bartel. Short option, Enright. Racking up the possessions, Corey Enright. Towards half forward, Lonergan brought down. Free kick to Geelong. Plays on quickly. Gets it deep. Gamble on his chest. Lack of concentration there from Everett. And Gamble, who's kicked a couple of goals, will kick from 35 metres. Angle only slight to give the Cats the biggest lead of the match.
And we talk about young players, and this is why you play them on these big stages, but Everett's just never looked comfortable down there today. They've been able to move those players around and expose some of their deficiencies. So, yeah, Everett, it's a great learning curve for him.
So Ryan Gamble, close, it's home, he's kicked three, Cats out by 20.
They've got a gamble problem, the Bulldogs.
They have, Anthony. Some of your best work there. They've got a few other problems as well. And one of them is the fact that this Geelong side are powerful. They've got a huge amount of support. The crowd's a real factor here, right behind this side. Just been able to just ease up into a higher gear here, Geelong. And the Bulldogs have got the challenge right up against them now.
Not one to show much emotion, but no sandwiches today for Mark Thompson at the moment. They've kicked 5 straight in the quarter, the Cats, and taken a 20-point lead. Is it a stranglehold, or are the Bulldogs going to be able to dig deep here? Fancy they need to get one in the next 4 or 5 minutes before three-quarter time, the Dogs. Ottens and Hudson. Selwyn and Cross at their feet. Bartel and Addison, and there's Bartel. This time it's his turn to get the high contact.
Let it go, up Jimmy, go Jimmy, back Jimmy. Let's go, come on. Not yet, wait.
Told not to rush things. Lonergan is one of the long targets. Cross as fearless as ever. Chapman. There's a free kick, and it's going the Bulldogs' way. Coming back to Daniel Cross. What would Rodney Eade be thinking now then does get to three-quarter time? Or?
Oh, I'd love to pinch one goal in this last 3 minutes and 40 seconds, just narrow the margin. I think the way he coaches, he'll be encouraging to play on through the corridor, keep taking the opposition on. They've still got a man up and tackle and chase, but it's about being bold now.
Forwards pushing up. Welsh takes the mark.
Really need a couple of their forwards to get into the game. Hahn, Murphy, this man here, they need a few of them to just get hold of the footy. And
well, they're all on the wing, aren't they, at the moment? We see Welsh there, Johnson was there, and also Murphy, who's now just starting to push back a little. So who's left in the forward 50?
And there's his third up specialist. Just drops off his man time and time again.
Lake's down there at the moment. So Rocket trying a few things as Enright and Harley take the Cats out of defence.
Halfback Corey Enright coming in for disposal number 16. He's had a lot of it the last couple of weeks, a total of 73 possessions in the 2 weeks coming into this game. Wasn't a great kick, was almost a very good mark to Ackermanis. Eagleton deadly from 50, gives the Dogs a result. Back to 14.
Great call, Das. Very good call. Just to snaffle that goal.
gives them that hope, doesn't it? 20 points with the low-scoring game it's been going into three-quarter time, and now I reckon you go in with a real bit of positive energy. They'd love to be able to hang on if they could pinch one more. Going to be a massive last quarter.
So Eagleton kicks the goal, has a rest, as seems to happen all the time in modern footy, and the Dogs haven't got a lot out of their good spread of forwards today. Hahn, Ackermanis, Murphy, Johnson. Gives them some hope if they can improve. They won't need turnovers like that, though. Blake trying to feed it out. Steve Johnson takes the initiative. Scarlett gets in the mix. Bartel, Selwood, and the Cats are pumping again from the wing. Those hard things from Gilby will lift. Varco went straight backwards for Gamble, and Joel Corey doesn't have an outlet. Now he does. It's Enright. Not a great delivery, but it falls perfectly for Rook. No mark. Dogs have still got 2 minutes if they can win the footy here to score another one.
Geez, he's hard, Max Rook, and he just loves the physical aspect of the game. Have a look at him.
I think he dropped the mark so he could get some more tackles on him.
I reckon he might have.
Yeah. Joel Corey. Harley. Good purposeful lead from Lonigan. Chapman's for company as well. Tiller. Pressure goes up a notch. And it's over and out in the forward pocket. Geelong leading by 14 here.
Just over 90 seconds left in this third quarter. Hudson tries to direct it towards Ray. Stokes paddling to his own advantage. Ray's got it. Good tackle from Stokes. Murphy off to Griffin. Oh, gee, that's a shocking kick. Bounces just inside. Is it deliberate?
It was shockingly perfect.
Well, it couldn't have been deliberate because he couldn't have wanted to kick it that badly. Boundary throw in.
It's a massive just minute and 20 seconds, isn't it? Because they can't afford a goal. Need to hang on here, the Dogs.
Hudson, Addison jams it on the boot. Floats it back towards half forward.
Behind it, behind it!
For the Cats, and the mark's taken by Enright. 65 from goal. So set play here. Dogs have got numbers back. Kicks into the pocket. Gamble almost just ducked his head at the last second. He grabbed hold across his leg. No free kick. And a bounce 40 metres from goal.
.55 seconds and counting. Particularly if you're a Bulldogs fan. Geelong by a couple of goals. Selwood, Gilby, Griffin, Ackermanis all in the mix. Selwood was caught in the crush. Varco! He's capable. He pretty much always kicks a goal. He has in every game so far this year. And he's one of a handful of Geelong players that I think have really improved this year to give the Cats perhaps even a better team than last year. Time will tell on that front. Griffin across this. Still a chance here for the Dogs. They can carry it through the wing. They've got a good ball carrier there in Griffin. They're all coming and running from behind. Gin Syracuse, but
Well, they've broken down all day. Across there, particularly in this third term, haven't been able to get through that centre forward region.
That's just a Harley special too, isn't it? He's done that so often. Plenty of attention to that in the last few weeks. So the Dogs will know that he does it. Mackey pretty cool and calm with the kick. It's well placed for Darren Milburn, who started this game with 19 disposals in the first quarter. His right leg's gone cold since then. He's only had 4 touches since quarter time, but he won't be too upset because the Cats have taken a 15-point lead into the match-winning lead, Michael Voss.
Well, Geelong, they put the pedal down. They raised the ante, and the Bulldogs were able to settle, which was just absolutely critical. I thought a change-up in matchups was important. Lake was certainly getting well and truly beaten by Mooney, and Johnson was beating Morris. So just a small change-up in defence has just settled the Bulldogs and launching into this last quarter. So stay tuned, because this will be an absolute clinker.
They lead by 4 at three-quarter time.
Sorry, Hutto. Brian Lake has had an ordinary afternoon down back. It's fair to say they've moved into full forward. Can he turn it around, kick a couple of goals and get his side over the line?
It's the biggest game of the year so far. Big crowd here at Skills Stadium. The last quarter action underway live around the country.
Hudson wins it down, taken by Boyd. Handball clear, taken by Murphy. Back to Boyd. Little give, okay. Cross, jams it on the boot. Inside attacking 50. Lake, an immediate impact. What can he conjure up here? Not a great kick, straight to Milburn. Out wide, Steve Johnson, who's got a lot of his possessions up on the wing and in defence. Blake can't quite gather. Corey Ken, clever little kick around the body. He spotted Mackie, just had too much on it. Addison, little bumble. Mackie, good tackle by Addison. Kelly, Stokes off a step. Just spotted Blake at the corner of his eye. Now big Mark Blake runs to 50, kicks towards the goal square, and the mark's taken by Chapman. Just what the Dogs didn't need. And Brian Lake, he just had to get a little bit more on that ball as he kicked it forward from centre half forward. He couldn't. And in a blink of the eye, Chapman with an opportunity from just 15 metres, 45-degree angle, to extend the lead to 21 points, which would be the biggest lead of the match. Should kick it. He pops it through. The Cats out by 21.
Just a contrast in two sides when they go forward. Bulldogs seem to have a lot of numbers. Geelong defenders seem to be able to close them down. Conversely, when it's turned over, we seem to see a fair bit of space for Geelong. Mark Blake, they're out on his own, running across 50 without any pressure, and you're always going to score more when you haven't got a lot of pressure. I think Mark Blake might have been having a shot at goal, but in the end, goal to Chapman.
Any master moves left from Rodney Eve, I wonder. Almost 25,000 people in. Geelong out to a 21-point margin. Hudson. So more than just a tap ruckman, he's being, there he is, scrapping on the ground. He's second for clearances for the Dogs, but he can't get that one clean.
The challenge for any side that plays Geelong into the future is, can they match it with them for the whole 120 minutes or whatever the length of the game will be, because they provide the pressure the whole way through. So the challenge is, can others do the same?
And we saw that, didn't we, in that mid-stretch of the season when they were challenged down here, but found a way out each and every time. Steve Johnson onto the wing. Prismore hasn't been a big factor today. His 12th disposal though. Harley hoping that Steve Johnson can run on. No one came at him and it all became a bit easy for him, and then he just left it behind. 21, still the margin. Lots around the ball. And congregated half forward, and there was plenty of space in the Geelong forward 50, but it's not going there. It's going to Daniel Cross, who shares it with Cooney. And now the Dogs hopefully can get out of trouble.
Baron Ray back to Cooney. Johnson, Ray under pressure, the Dogs, but he gets the handball wide to Morris. Put Johnson under the pup. Wild handball over the top. Fisted back, and now the Cats away. Stokes gets it to Prismal. Prismal just chips it up wide. Choice of a couple of Cats. Kelly is one of them. 60 from goal. Wasn't a great kick. The target was Stokes. He just pulled the kick a bit. And the mark's taken by Baron Ray.
And there's options for Tiller on the wing. He'll have to kick well. He adjusted the kick to hit Cross. And now Johnson and Eagleton.
Well,
Hargrave. Murphy. A little bit of accidental tunnelling there.
He's got cramp. See that left calf.
Just been one forward today who's an unbelievable year. Nasty landing. Walk-up start for All-Australian Robert Murphy this year. Just been quelled his influence today.
So Hargrave gets to take the kick. Johnson and Acker in the frame. Hudson's there as well. Cross. He handball to a voice. Johnson gets it back. And again the Geelong defenders playing in front and reaping the rewards. This is Scarlett. He's had so much of it today. His 30th disposal onto the wing. Lonergan sharing it with Ottens. And now Prismal can go.
Prismal concedes ground. Lonergan, Steve Johnson again. Around Addison. Left foot kick is effective. Mark taken by Ottens. 55 from goal. Kicks it wide. The target is Mooney. He didn't. He took hands to it. Tiller did well to spoil. Ray ducked. Chance for Chapman as he pushed out. They fight on. Tiller goes back in for a second effort. And the umpire will call for it eventually. Dogs look tired. Tiller did well in this exchange. spoiling. Cameron Mooney has been a very good player this afternoon for Geelong.
Just wear you down physically, Geelong. They just consistently, with their big, strong bodies, make it hard for you.
Ottens again dominated hit-outs this afternoon. Hudson does well again at ground level. Ray, Morris gave it up. Bartell snaps back to a vacant goal square, and he's put it through. Well, if you don't mind, Jimmy Bartell. Things running right for the Cats. The margin 27 points. You wouldn't think the Dogs could come back from here, but still plenty of time left.
Hasn't seen much time on the bench today. Jimmy Bartell, Rodney Eade, has got to come up with something, because it looks like the Dogs might be going down. The margin 27. There's still plenty of time. They've got to get their hands on the ball and find an avenue to goal. Cats have the breeze at their back, and their tails are certainly out.
I just wonder whether for Bulldogs, for a change of structure, whether they just don't plant Acker, Murphy, Jiren Siracusa and Johnson just inside the forward 50. They've spent a lot of time up the ground trying to turn this Geelong defence. I think now it's trying to create a bit more space in that midfield so they can run the ball through the middle of the ground. But Geelong on the burst.
Cats shuffling forward again. Steve Johnson for Mackie. Off the left. And it falls beautifully in the path of this man Gamble.
He's still got to get it there though.
He can do no wrong, Ryan Gamble. And they're just tightening the screws and turning them right into the Dogs here, the Cats. Already 27. What an afternoon from Ryan Gamble. Got the call up with the injury to Wojcinski, who just pulled up a bit sore during the week. He's taken 5 marks, had 12 disposals, and kicked 4 goals. An afternoon to remember for Ryan Gamble.
Yeah, full credit to Geelong. When they've needed to, they've been able to just find that little bit extra. They do it on the back of just sheer work rate. They understand their game plan so well. Keep in mind, probably 2 of their best half a dozen players aren't playing today. Gary Ablett and Cameron Ling. And a young man comes into the side, Ryan Gamble, and steps up and looks like a ready-made player.
33 points. Bulldogs have kicked just 1 goal since half-time. I think they've kicked a couple, but Geelong have been absolutely dominant. 3-0 in this final term. Minson, Jan Siracusa, and Milburn. At half-back off to Harley, Scarlett. And again, they combine beautifully. Corey from centre wing. Kicks inside to Mooney. This time from Lakers back at full-back. Stokes has got it. He's immediately tackled a bounce on attacking 50 for the Cats. 8 goals to 2 since half-time. Locked up at quarter time, locked up at half-time. Geelong have shown their superiority in the second half. Griffin dragged down. Morris. Selwood was able to get it wide to Priswell. Little fumble. But did get the handball off to Selwood. To Chapman. Loops the handball to Bartell. Now Stokes. 45 from goal. Just steadies. Measures the kick. Bringing it back. It's supposed. 34 points.
Gee, they're just about to make a statement, Geelong. If they haven't already. I mean, they are starting to dominate. 385 possessions. And Bulldogs 278. Just the ability to be able to get the ball in the hands and just to create that pressure constantly on the opposition. It's going to be a challenge for opposition when they face this mighty Cats.
Important dance here for the Dogs as to what happens between now and the end of the game. Even if they can't win, does it matter from here?
Oh, no doubt it does. It's a mindset scene. I mean, they've had an unbelievable season. They've had a draw. Brad Johnson had a shot on the siren against North Melbourne from 30 metres out. If that was the case, they're actually undefeated. If you had to kick that, undefeated coming in today. So this will be their first real loss. It's just if they can get it back to 20 points, it'll mean a lot for the rest of the year.
The first real loss. North fans would like that. The mark's taken by Mooney. They can have a shot for goal. He thought about handballing on, as is the Cats want.
First significant loss. Potentially. Not over yet. I'll do Bossy from last week. I'm going to get him home.
No, even I can't manage that right now, Dars.
I just wonder what the lessons that they've learned from this game will be. We'll talk about that more both through the rest of the quarter, and no doubt there'll be plenty of discussion after the match. Cameron Mooney probably didn't start the season in great fashion, but he's such a crucial part of this forward line. He's been a star today and deserves his second goal. And they won it.
Just the strength there of Brad Ottens. One of the strongest players in the game, Brad Ottens, around the clearances. That man on screen, Cam Mooney, I reckon he really was the first player that instigated Geelong's day today. Everything he's been involved in has been positive. A very good player.
Mark Thompson very content. 10 marks, 14 disposals, couple of goals for Cam Mooney this afternoon. And the margin, 40 points. Minson beats Blake. Blake does well at ground level to follow up though. Ray. Geelong free kick with a comeback to Joel Corey. Still over 12 and a half minutes of actual game time left in the match. It's a long way to go. Dogs need to just regroup here as Scarlett takes the mark. Got it from Hunt. Kick to Stokes. It's just too easy at the moment. And good kick.
That's a terrific understanding. Stokes almost knew immediately that someone was going to double back into that space. And almost without looking, Bartel doubled back into that space and he just kicked it into it. He ran onto it, took an uncontested mark.
Bartel's kicked a couple of goals from just inside 50. Just lost it to the right, so behind only.
How do you assess his game today? Does 30 disposals, 2 goals.
Yeah, unbelievable. I assess his whole year as being phenomenally consistent. If he didn't win the Brownlow last year, I think we'd be talking about him in the same breath we were last year. It's a pretty heavy tag to hang around from the year before.
Just spraying around the edges now, the Bulldogs.
And you have G. Ablett in front of you, who creates a bit of interest also.
Selwood, can he pinpoint one? Not that time. Chapman, they're lining up across half forward. Mackie deals it back for Scarlett. Opportunity for the Bulldogs, a rare one of recent times. Opportunity runs out. Kelly and Corey. And the kick comes out of the fence from Enright for Harley. He's off. And Mooney can go again. Lake's back on him now. Steve Johnson. Even he couldn't get the logistics right that time.
Just got so many different sort of players that provide something special. Steve Johnson's first quarter today was just unbelievable. On Dale Morris, who I know a lot of opposition players almost just shut up shop when he goes to him. He's so hard to get a kick on. Steve Johnson, well, he beat him really convincingly in the first quarter. You look at this Geelong side, you know, Bartel almost goes under the radar, Brownlow medalist. They've got so many different varieties of good players that can get you over the line.
Well done by Blake. Inside 50s in this quarter. 10-2 in favour of the Cats. Harley off to Selwood. Another entry inside attacking 50, and Mooney couldn't quite hold on. And Lake combines with Addison to clear the half back line, perhaps for the moment, or can Eagleton take the mark? At the 4, Ackermanis.
First possession for the half.
3 on 2. We've seen that as a regular tale through the second half. Taylor does well. And the mark's taken by Mackie. And 50, no.
Mackie lets fly now. Oh, Steve Johnson. There's not a lot that he can't do.
Trying to find a player that you can compare him to from any other area. He's actually a unique footballer. He's his own. He's got some magic that I suppose Peter Dacos had. He's got a work rate that a half-forward flanker has never had before, but he's unique.
He's a big Collingwood fan growing up. He loved the work of Peter Dacos. And he's certainly at home on the same stage as the great Dakes. And he's loved down here at Skilled Stadium. It's 48 points the difference. It's phenomenal, isn't it?
Gee, I bet you Geelong fans are happy that he got his stuff in order to become the player that he has. He is just a super player. I mean, if you measure Ablett as the most important player, or perhaps Mooney, I would nearly put him beside Ottens as second and third.
.48 points the margin. Mark Thompson looks on. And Geelong, well, have just dominated. It was all tied up at half-time. Big leap from Blake, taken though by Hudson. Griffin, good little give to Boyd, off to Addison. Wide, Harley and Hahn. Harley does well. You get a boundary throw in.
I think some of the Bulldog forwards have just had an understanding of how good this Geelong defence is. Mitch Hahn had a fantastic season. Been carrying around a little bit of a foot injury, but it's almost a brick wall, the Geelong half-back line.
Lake, Rook. Oh, a handball to Kelly, put him under the pump. Gilby applies a tackle.
Fossey in cricket parlance, Gamble's come into the team today and made 100. Does he keep his place, or do they, when Ling and Ablett come back?
Oh, well, they'll be looking at other options. You keep that form up, gee, you generally would be unlucky to miss out on the side.
Kelly back inside to Ottens. Meantime, free kick. It'll come back to James Kelly.
And James, just on the Dogs structure, does this raise any questions about their forward line? The old chestnut about them not having a key tall marking forward? Or
no, I don't think so. I think it's another good kick.
Gee, it was a cracker, wasn't it?
Does for me.
And Lonergan has marked 35 metres from goal, directly in front.
I think the thing they have done, Vossi, is try to create Will Minson as the goal square forward. Started there today as the free kick to James Kelly. Just wasn't able to get his hands on the footy, and I think that's probably a compliment to Geelong's defence as opposed. They just haven't got a Cam Mooney, and they can manufacture Will Minson there. I think that's their go.
8 goals in the last 2 weeks. Hasn't kicked a goal this afternoon. Lonergan from 35. It's close. It's a goal. Points the margin. Tom Lonergan kicks his first of the afternoon.
I don't think any of us saw this coming. 6 goals for the Cats in this quarter. Basically unanswered, and it's 54 points the difference. The marks inside 50, Dars, just getting back to the Bulldogs forward line today, 21-4. Now that's obviously about ball movement and a whole lot of other things as well, as Harley takes another great climb and mark, and then Chapman misses the target.
I think they still have concerns in terms of finals football. Under immense pressure, you still need to be able to have somebody that you can kick it to that can create a contest. And you can try and get all your forwards up, but just sometimes it's not going to go your way. And I just think that against Geelong defence, when they work so well together and they do have a bigger bodies, you need to have that option up your sleeve. And instead, we've got Welsh up on the wing trying to get a possession. So from that perspective, I think going into the finals, they do have some concerns in that area of the ground.
All year, though, Vossi, Will Minson's actually playing full forward at the moment. We saw in the first quarter they probably hit that spot, the square. I reckon they hit it 10 times. Didn't get a lot of value out of it and probably lost confidence in it. There's Will Minson now. They would love to have a big, tall forward, but I think they've just got to manufacture their goals.
Griffin's kick almost made it through. It did in the end for a behind.
Look, I think it's hard to be critical when they've lost 2 games, Darcy. Well, let's got to be also realistic, but you're also talking in a unique environment that is finals, and you know sometimes it's not going to go all your way, and they stages they haven't today, and they haven't been able to generate a score.
Confidence to kick in and find Blake. He takes the mark and gets it moving again. Mooney was either coming on or coming off the ground, one or the other, but he was sitting on his own in front of the benches, and he's got Corey along for the ride. He takes a very laconic and casual bounce. Spins around, deals it out for Mooney, who might just take the opportunity to kick another one so he can celebrate just one more time. Everybody's getting in on the act.
And I suppose we've been talking in the last little bit about some of the Bulldogs' weaknesses. They get exposed pretty clearly, or any side does when you play against this outfit. They are a special combination. Chris Hope playing phenomenal footy and fair way ahead of the next best team in the competition at the moment.
Yes, they are a special combination. Vossi, I wonder in the height of the Brisbane Lions' reign at the top of the table, whether you would have loved to take it on this side.
Absolutely. Any team that you can play and you know you're going to get a competition from for 120 minutes. They have a unique belief within their group at the moment that no side can go with them for the full game. They might be able to do it for 3 quarters. They might be able to do it for 3 quarters and 15 minutes. But it's a unique belief they've got in this group. And as we heard Max Rook say, they also believe they're mentally harder than most teams in the competition also.
Rook kicks it inside, attacking 50. Tiller coming across. Late thumps it wide. Bartel pushes Addison out of the way. Free kick.
Did you always feel you had that? Sorry, Chris, did you feel you always had that edge when you were at Brisbane?
I always like to think you did. I don't think we ever mentioned or said it publicly, but you know that over a period of time that you do get a confidence in one another. And whether that translates to the opposition, well, you're never too sure how that affects the opposition until you play them. But I would say, though, and I don't like to compare the eras because the sides are completely different from the Hawthorns to what we did and what Geelong are doing now. But
you would have towed them up, basically.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I tell you what, I see some of these players out here, I just think they're absolutely brilliant. Their team ethics, as good as they are individually, they bring a unique team, and it's a credit to them. Credit to Mark Thompson also.
Addison's kick run down, and Geelong have just got all the answers. Minson fires it back to Hargrave under pressure. Ray going back, couldn't quite take the mark. Enright kicks it wide into the path of Mackie, and he can gather and regroup in the back pocket. Beautiful kick to his mate Ottens, and Ottens has got it just backward of the wing.
Plus Harfield blokes are now in the mid to late 30s. I reckon they'd struggle against the Geelong side in that Boston.
The old Don Bradman story.
That is the old Don. Give it another run. Lovely pass into the pocket. Cameron Mooney takes it. He's got plenty of options. Just pops it up for Gamble, and he's marked it inside the it's over and out. What does this mean in terms of the finals? If the Dogs would have played Geelong in the first or the second or the third week, or even the last week of the finals?
I think it just means whoever plays Geelong can have their work cut out.
But particularly for the Dogs, as their scars out of this, is a different venue change things.
Yeah, I think you learn a little bit from it. Look, the thing we're forgetting is they've got 2 of their best players out, Ling and Ablett as well, so throw them back in. The Bulldogs would love to have Tom Williams.
Yeah, they would, and Higgins, they're still hopeful they're getting back.
And Scotty West is also someone that you think might be able to add something coming into the finals as well. So look, there are players to come back in. The most impressive part for me, and Geelong is such an even side, you can't find a weakness, but their defence is almost impenetrable. The Bulldog forward line has been unbelievable. Well, they haven't been able to get a kick today.
Steve Johnson, absolutely brilliant today. Off to Stokes from 50 metres. He measures the kick. It's just offline, but canning into the post. So Matthew Stokes tally this afternoon. 1 goal, 2.
There's a 50-metre paid. Is it Bartel or someone kicked the ball away or touched the ball after it went through? Bulldogs haven't had a goalless quarter this year, so they wouldn't particularly like that, but not that it's going to make much difference. The margin is 60 at the moment.
You know, also the great thing about finals, you don't have to be the best team of the year.
We saw that.
You just have to be the best on the day.
That's right. I mean, Geelong nearly lost a prelim final last year.
Nearly does. Eagleton.
Sure.
They continue to hunt the Cats. They're still hungry for more. Steve Johnson just can't run onto it. See Gamble still there, turns it straight over to Mooney. He's trying to get it back to Johnson. Umpire deems it a throw. it's pretty dark and gloomy for the Dogs down here. And as we look what's ahead for the Cats, the Hawks, what a game that's going to be next Friday night. And then the Tigers, the Demons, and a trip to Sydney for ANZ Stadium. Let's hope the conditions of the ground are better than what we saw it a couple of weeks ago. A rare shorty forward for the Dogs. It's going to end like most of their others, snuffed out by the Cats' defence.
Lonigan sweeps the handball inside it. Centre half back to Enright. Little chip's okay. Ottens, no pressure at all, so he has a casual bounce. Off to Milburn. Outstanding in the opening quarter. Darren Milburn's got a loose player. James Kelly inside attacking 50. And Kelly now decides not to kick for goal, but to kick across to Stokes, who marks 10 metres from goal. And the Dogs' intensity and focus and concentration has just dropped off considerably in this final term, which will be a big disappointment for Rodney Eade and all Bulldog fans. Just too easy at the moment for Geelong. Applause for Brad Ottens as he comes from the ground. But the ball with Matthew Stokes has kicked one, pops through his second, with the margin incredibly, 66 points.
It's a massacre at Skilled Stadium, and the Dogs are going to have to quickly get their act back together because they've got a big game against the Blues next week, followed by a trip to Monica to take on the Sydney Swans, and then North Melbourne and the Brisbane Lions.
8 goals for to 1 behind in this final term.
Yeah, it's been a smashing, Chriso, and the Bulldogs will go back and have to reassess a few things. And Geelong again makes a statement to the football world and says, is anyone good enough to beat us in 2008? They've had a couple of challenges this year in Hawthorn. The Bulldogs, well, they've knocked the Bulldogs on the head, and they take on the Hawks next week.
I think they start pretty firm favourites against the Hawks, but Hawthorn in a different combination with that dangerous forward line. We'll see how the Cats can cope with that, but still a bit more to play out here. Can the Dogs salvage a goal perhaps late in this last quarter? They might be free here to Addison. A non-controlling umpire pays the advantage, and Ackermanis is away into big wheel with 3 Cats to try and fend off here, and it proves too much as it has so many times, particularly since halftime when the Cats have taken hold of this game. It's been a big week for Geelong, of course, with the news that Brian Cook has signed a new 3-year deal. Frank Costa last night alluding in a radio interview to some big secret plan that they've got for Brian Cook, to something else in the long-term horizon to do here, which they can't announce yet. The locals are loving their footy. Joel Selwood with a very deep penetrating kick. The Glory Boys still want to kick one more, Mooney and Johnson, but they can't there, and it's through for a behind.
Just another statistic. Geelong are up to 450 disposals, boys. That's in the last 7 weeks. They've had 5 of the 7 all-time disposals since it's been recorded. They are a machine this term.
Very dark here at Skilled Stadium. Eagleton got it from Addison, but Geelong are just awesome in the way their intensity has been maintained right through this game. Prismal, Kelly a little fumble. Cooney seizes that opportunity off to Eagleton, but under pressure again, he can only scramble the kick forward. And a boundary throw-in will result.
What that does is it forces you to chase all the time. Just be able to chase, and over the course of a whole game, it wears you out.
Hudson gets rid of Blake. Griffin, well tackled by Taylor. His handball was ineffective. Mackie, Stokes, Milburn, and Milburn will give over the top to Selwood. Chapman, no pressure whatsoever at the moment from the Bulldogs. His kick is perfect. Mark taken by Mooney. Kick towards half forward. Gamble. Chance to make it from there with the wind at his back. Decides to kick across the ground, and sensing the danger coming across Addison, who's been one of the Bulldogs' best. Takes a free kick. Advantage paid. Ackermanis, Harbrow off to Gilby. A bounce. Gilby, good chase from Enright. His handball wasn't gathered initially by Eagleton. He's 55 from goal. Not too many options. Decides to just go for it himself and kicks a superb goal. Nathan Eagleton for the Bulldogs. Well played.
Well, at least they've salvaged a goal in the last quarter. Didn't go goalless. You find that amusing, Anthony?
I find you amusing. Just watching you in the last quarter, just watching your body language. That's been amusing.
Had the edge taken off me a little bit. It's look.
It's a really disappointing day for the Bulldogs, but as we've said, you know, they've had a great year. So I guess now it's how they respond from here that's the crucial thing. Yeah,
next week will be massive for them against Carlton. It just it stands out like a beacon how good Geelong are. You can't take anything away from them.
All right, last minute or so, you would imagine Cooney taking it away. Can he hit a target? There's the answer. Big Will. Dished it out nicely for Griffin, almost an accidental kick for Milburn. And he's got runners. This is Prismal now, another man who's going to be just desperate to cling on to his spot as the finals approach. Late change of decision from Enright. It's all over. The Cats with authority at Skill Stadium by 61 points. What a final quarter it was for Geelong. Let's get down to Howie on the ground.